Yo, 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 what up, man? Welcome to Mezzo Forte Sportz. That's right, Bar Talk with the super fans. We are chilling out with the crew. Who do we have in today's edition? We got a guy who's walked the walk now. He talks the talk. It is Coach Tosco. What's up, guy? I have back our faithful producer, Crack AV. Good to have you, man. And our fearless host, Danny BMD. And me, of course, your amateur hype man, super fan art. We're going to be talking some sports, South Texas style. Now take it away, Dan.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome, Mezzo Forte Sportz. Coming to you live from San Antonio, Texas to your radio and ears. Providing some sports time for your free time. What up, this your host, Danny BMD. How's everyone doing today and how did your team do this week? All right, guys. So, just kind of real quick. Picking up where we left off from on Tuesday. We just have a little round table. We do have, let's see. Hold on.
It's cool. We don't got Adrian today.
Yeah,
but
so
that's all right. We got Evan back.
So yeah, so my bad, guys. So we don't have Adrian today, but we do have everyone back. Today's fan art, Tosco, and of course our crack AV all day. So today, guys, we're just kind of want to give a quick shout out again to everyone watching us on Twitch, everyone watching us on YouTube, and everyone watching us on Facebook as well. I just want to give a quick shout out to all of our super fans. Go ahead and comment, guys. Comment, subscribe, follow us, and we will answer your questions if we can. Not this time around, maybe next time around, but at some point we will. All right, so last time we did talk a little more NBA playoffs, so we're going to give a little bit more love to all of our other sports as well. So we're actually going to start real quick. There's been a lot of things kind of going on with the NFL. So we'll start. We'll go ahead and just start there. We will talk a little bit about fighting worlds. Some talks more than anything than analysis. Kind of our, opinions and takes. A little bit of a hot takes on that. And also of course, we'll go ahead and actually, more than likely talk a little bit. Obviously NBA playoffs towards the very end as we enter towards the final phase of that. Along with that, we'll talk a little bit of college, baseball as well, and some actual college football updates on that. We'll go do a little diamond talk with Superfan Art on any updates in baseball. And so it looks like we have a full slate today, guys.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be like a little sampler of a show.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and
everything.
Just want to give the mic to Tosco a little bit as you just kind of introduce yourself, say hi to the crew. How's everyone? How you doing, bro?
Doing good, man. Happy to be back. This is my hadn't been on the Thursday show in a while, but
I know we missed
welcome
you.
Welcome to the B team, bro.
But yeah, man, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be back, and hopefully, I think it's gonna be a good show. We're gonna talk about a lot of stuff today, so a little bit of everything here and there, but I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, I know. I know that obviously, talk some. We've talked specifically Julio Jones before in another context. Now we're kind of bringing that context now into play, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. Superfan Art, how's it going, bro? You've been with us. You've been visiting us. This is your house. You already got to
get rid of us.
You already moved
Can't stop.
in?
Won't stop. No, we've been doing good. We're doing good. It's a lovely Thursday.
Yeah, you moved in. He's a roommate already. No, not yet, but he's a roommate in the show.
Nice.
How's it going, bro?
It's doing good. It's good to be here on the Thursday. Got some good basketball currently watching right now. I know currently got the Stros facing the Boston Red Sox. I think
Red Sox.
They're finishing up that series. And damn, it's just fucking gotta stay indoors, man. It's triple-digit weather. It's got people melting and shit. It's not good. Can almost taste the hot air.
Oh yeah, not at all.
So everyone out there, like in Texas, you gotta stay hydrated, stay indoors, be safe. If you gotta go outside, maybe do it early in the morning or late at night when it's at least in the 90s. But yeah, doing good. Glad to see y'all here. It's gonna be a good show.
And of course, Mr. Crack AV. How you doing, bro? We missed you last time with all your sound effects. I feel like I don't know something was missing. We're a little too quiet there.
Oh no.
Oh, nice. To start it off, you're already on mute.
I was like, no, it's okay, guys. We forgive him as long as he's here. We love our Crack AV all day, all day. How's it go?
There he is.
There you are. How's it going, bro? How are you?
Check, check. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah.
I can hear me.
Yes.
I'm doing all right. Just had some family things to do last time on Tuesday, but I'm good now.
Nice. No,
Catching
it's
a lot
all
of sun
good.
lately these days.
Yeah, no,
Awesome.
of course.
I was just watching that Nets and Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Milwaukee.
How's that? How is it?
In Milwaukee. Topsy turvy. Who knows who's gonna win?
It's not a blowout.
They're trying to rain
So that's good.
fire. Both teams. It's not working.
I don't know. What do you think? What do you? We'll talk about that.
Steve
towards-
Nash is going to put himself in the game.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah. exactly. The way they're playing right now, yeah.
Exactly. Be like, hey, you know what, man? Put me in, coach. No. I'm going in, coach.
Yeah.
Hold my
Like,
clipboard.
I was like, coach? Yes. Hold my clipboard. Anyways. All right, guys. So we'll go ahead and get right into. Well, actually, have Arturo, actually Tosco lead us right into our Julio Jones trade. So, as you guys know, actually, you know what? No, I'll go ahead and have Tosco talk to you a little bit about that. So we'll go ahead and go into our Great Iron news, and I'll have you straight into that Julio trade impact. Tosco, go for it.
Yeah. So for obviously for those who are, maybe not following up with current events, Julio Jones got traded from the Falcons to the
Titans.
Falcons to the Titans. Yeah. They traded him. The Falcons ended up getting, I think, a second round pick and a fifth or fourth. We got a fourth. Yes, they got a second and a fourth for Julio Jones. So, I mean, there was a lot of talk about they were going to get, what they wanted. Eventually, they settled on a second and a fourth. The Titans were willing to give it up. And now, this offense has turned from a good offense into probably an elite offense. But I still don't see much of an impact there. I don't see this really helping out the Titans in the ways that you think it will help. I mean, yes, you're bringing in a really good receiver. Yes, you're bringing in a guy who can put up, a lot of stats. You're bringing in a guy that's going to get double teamed. That's going to take the coverage. So now you have AJ Brown to go one-on-one. And AJ Brown is an up-and-coming rising star in this league. He had a breakout season last year. And he's going to be, he can be a future Julio Jones. But the thing is you need to remember that this offense isn't a passing offense. This offense is run through literally by Derrick Henry. Yeah. So Derrick Henry is the heart and soul, the engine that runs this offense. Without him, then this offense doesn't go anywhere. So a lot of people are saying, oh my God, this is and that. But I'm pretty sure, and I haven't heard it. I don't know if you guys, but I haven't heard people say, oh, Super Bowl contender Titans. Not a lot of people have said that even after this trade. And there's a reason why. Because, their offense is good. It's their defense that seems to. And they brought in Bud Dupree, but it's Bud Dupree coming off of knee injury. They brought in Janoris Jenkins, who is older, who wasn't re-signed by the Saints. I understand they had cap problems, but, this guy was a top corner, 3-4 years ago. Now, he's not that anymore. They lost Kenny Vaccaro. They lost Dory Jackson, another corner who they traded actually to the Giants, I believe. And either way, the point is that I think my question is, if the Titans have Julio Jones on their team now, will they be able to beat the Baltimore Ravens in the first round of the playoffs? Because that's where the Titans ended up last year. They made it in the first round of the playoffs. They played the Ravens and they lost. With the addition of Julio Jones, will that make a difference when they're playing the Baltimore Ravens? And let's say they do beat the Baltimore Ravens. Can they beat the Chiefs? Can they beat the Browns? Can they beat the Bills? I don't know if adding Julio Jones was the answer to say, yes, they can beat all those teams and make it to the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, I think specifically it's just not a need, like you're I mean, it's the Titans, right? Who do you have? Like in their division, right? The Colts.
The Colts, the
Jaguars,
and the Texans.
And the Texans, right? Texans, we don't have to really worry about them. But
it was already a cakewalk,
yeah,
so to speak.
The Jaguars is gonna be interesting. I don't know. I still think it's gonna be interesting. I don't want to say anything about them at all until I actually see this dude actually play. But we'll definitely talk about that later on. But I think that it just doesn't help you. Like it just doesn't. Like they lost a corner, right? Who they lose? The Titans this year.
And they Malcolm Butler. They also lost Malcolm Butler.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like cornerbacks are like such a need right now, especially right now.
And don't get me wrong, they drafted the kid Farley from Virginia Tech.
Oh yeah, but
but again, he's a rookie, and maybe you might even hear people say, well, receiver was the need, right? They did need receivers because they lost Corey Davis, they lost Adam Humphries to free agency. Okay, sure, you need a receiver, but again, having a receiver like Julio Jones, to me, you have him, AJ Brown. That offense is not going to be a passing offense. That offense is going to be a running offense.
Yeah.
Yes. And yes, I get it. They're going to benefit from Derrick Henry. One of them is going to benefit from another because you're not going to be able to double team both of them. Now, another thing that doesn't help is that they lost Jonnu Smith. Okay, they're tight end. Now they have Anthony Frisker, backup tight end who showed flashes of being, having good good things, good catches, good plays last year. But even at that, this is a Derrick Henry offense. It's going to be a run-heavy offense and then passing after. It's not like you have a great passer in Ryan Tannehill. He gets the job done, but he's not, like, amazing, right? You're not going to throw it all on his shoulders, right? You're going to put it on Derrick Henry, and then you're going to throw to A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. Point being, though, is I don't know if this move helps them beat Baltimore, helps them beat Buffalo, helps them beat Kansas City, helps them beat Cleveland. Cleveland's defense is amazing, on paper. Obviously, we still need to see it. We need to see injuries, stuff like that. But, I mean, just if you're looking at it on paper, Cleveland's defense is awesome. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to be tough.
Bro, not even the defense, bro. Just Cleveland, like itself. Like, so like if we were to mention like Cleveland's roster without actually mentioning that they're the Cleveland Browns, would you not say like they're Super Bowl contenders? Like,
of course.
Maybe the QBs it's kind of like, meh. But you have two running backs that can just carry the team.
That's what they did last year. And that's what they did it without Odell Beckham, by the way, who's coming back, right? Mm-hmm. So to top it all off, I just don't think, will the offense be good? Yes. Will the offense be better? Will they put up more stats than last year? Maybe. They probably will, right? But again, if you're putting up 30, 40, 50 points on the Jaguars twice a year and 30, 40, 50 points on the Texans twice a year, yeah, your stats are going to be a little bit elevated, right? They're going to be higher than they really seem. Are you going to put up 30, 40, 50 points on the Browns, on the Ravens, on the Chiefs, on the Bills, because they're going to play those teams because those are the first place teams. This year, they're going to play the Bills, the Browns, the Chiefs, a huevo. So, we're going to see if this really does help out this offense. I think it's more the defense that needs help. I think the defense is where they should have gotten more and have been able to see if they could have improved it to compete against these other guys, these other teams. So, I mean, it's a good trade. I think they got Julio Jones for cheap. Second and a fourth. I know there was other players that, went on social media like Jalen Ramsey and was like, hey, why didn't we give it to a second and a fourth? That seems like nothing for Julio Jones, right?
Yeah.
But again, Julio's contract is one of the worst in the NFL. One of the worst, in actually having to pay him. So it's not that easy for a lot of teams with the cap situation. So
yeah, who can afford it?
Exactly. So it had to be a team like Tennessee who had cap. It had to be a team like Indianapolis who has cap. A team like the Jaguars, the Jets, the Browns, teams that have cap availability. But he also wanted to go to a contender. He actually asked the Falcons to try and see if they can figure out a trade to a contender. So even though the Jets and the Jaguars could have done it, he probably didn't want to go there, right? Not because those are bad teams. Those are teams with rookie quarterbacks, and we're going to see where they go from here. But again, is it a good trade? Yes. Is it a trade that's going to be super impactful, that's going to help them down the road in the playoffs? We'll wait and see, but in my opinion, I don't think so.
How old is Julio? 36?
No. Julio's not 36. Julio's 31?
No.
32?
Yeah. I was like, wait. Yeah, no. I meant 30. Yeah, I meant 31, 32. My bad.
32. He's 32. Yeah, he just turned 32.
Yeah. I was like 36. Damn. I was like, no, that's Rodgers, right?
Rodgers is 36, 37, somewhere on there.
Oh, all right. Well, let's go ahead and transition into that. Right, but right before we do that, yeah, I'll go ahead and have superfan art. Go for it. Bro.
No, it's just it wasn't big football news, but I know it was a little bit of a eye opener. They said before all the Deshaun Watson allegations that he was trying to eye a movement to go to the Broncos over there in Colorado.
Who is that?
I don't know. Sources said before the allegations, Deshaun Watson was trying to get traded to the Broncos.
Oh, yeah. Before the allegations came out, when it was a whole he wanted to get traded or he doesn't want to play with them anymore. Yeah. I think it was he was Carolina, Miami, Denver were some of the options, were the main options. And even at that, even when the whole Aaron Rodgers thing started happening by the draft, Denver was all over it too. Denver really wanted Aaron Rodgers. So Denver's in a market for a QB, and they're going to try and see what they can do to snatch somebody up. And I think just, quick thing here on Deshaun, as we get closer to the season, we're starting to see a lot of these lawsuits and accusations, we're starting to forget some of them. They're starting to dwindle away. A lot of more facts are coming out, and a lot of those women are dropping their lawsuits. And so, Deshaun Watson might come back, cleared with his name cleared. And, if he still doesn't want to play for the Texans, we might see a trade before the season starts. So just keep that in mind.
Excellent. And Rodgers is still up in the air too. So good QB action going on later.
Yeah. Nice. And we'll actually go right into that. Talk about Rodgers. So in this case, on our Rodgers drama, so we asked the question, is the QB larger than the team? What does that mean? So at one point, do you just tell your QB like, hey man, get with the picture? You're just one of, 52, 53, whatever. I know you're the QB, but you have to go with with the team. Or does the team just have to be like, nah, dude, he's the QB? We have to. We just have to let it go. I'll have Tosco kind of lead us into that. What do you think?
Well, I think it's a hard question to answer. And I guess when you put it in that way, it kind of makes me rethink what I was going to say a little bit, in the sense of a quarterback needs an offensive line. A quarterback needs receivers. A quarterback needs a team. He cannot do it on his own. But, you see games that the quarterback wins on his own because he made things happen, right? Without the quarterback, things won't go, right? And I guess there's certain situations, there's certain players I think that have had that characteristic, and it's not many. There's some that is a quarterback bigger than the team. If you don't have this quarterback, does this team fall apart? It does not contend. Because there's teams, like, for example, I think right now, if you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with that team, you can take out Tom Brady and you can put in, I don't know, Derek Carr. You can put in Dak Prescott. You can put in maybe even Carson Wentz. With that team, they can win a Super Bowl with one of those quarterbacks. They don't necessarily need Tom Brady.
Yeah, true that.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you were to tell me, oh, Tom Brady in the 2000s or in the early 2010s with the Patriots, I can probably say that Tom Brady was bigger than some of those teams because they needed Tom Brady to win those games. If it wasn't Tom Brady, they weren't going to win those games.
Yeah.
When they won the Super Bowl with the Falcons, if it wasn't Tom Brady, they wouldn't have won that game.
Yeah, correct.
So is there situations where the quarterback is bigger than the franchise? Yes. Do I think Aaron Rodgers is that right now? Yes. Because if you take away Aaron Rodgers from this team and you start Jordan Love, this team is not a playoff team. Just looking at it, it's not. Yes, you have Aaron Jones, a Pro Bowl running back, Devontae Adams, a Pro Bowl receiver, right? And we don't know. Maybe Jordan Love will come out and some.
And they're not even showing the practice either. So.
What's that?
And the receivers aren't even showing the practice either.
So we have Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams. You have some of these linemen that are good, Elton Jenkins and Bakhtiari, right? But if you look at that defensive side, there's a lot of questions there. You have Jair Alexander, who's really good. You have Darnell Savage, who's really good. But other than that, maybe Kenny Clark, maybe Zadarius Smith. These guys are iffy up and down because of what they have and who they are as a team right now. You take away Aaron Rodgers, they go from a 12 and something team. I think they won 12 or 11 games last year. They go to a 7 wins, 6 wins, 5 wins, maybe. Okay. So I don't know if it's something that's plausible for Jordan Love to come in and replicate what, Aaron Rodgers does. They won 13 games. So I don't think they can get nowhere near 13 games. So, I think Aaron Rodgers is one of those that right now is bigger than the franchise. And without him, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a big struggle. And there's been other cases of that too. You can argue Peyton Manning, and in some of those years that he was with the Colts, Tom Brady with the Patriots. You can even argue, Joe Montana you can say Joe Montana, John Elway with the Broncos, Joe Montana with the Niners, but we're talking about real special quarterbacks, real special situations because, you can look at the Steelers and, that first championship, or even that second championship that Ben Roethlisberger won, you could probably replace Ben Roethlisberger with somebody else and they still would have won the Super Bowls. That team was good.
That team was
Russell
stacked.
Wilson. Yeah,
Bro,
Russell Wilson, that Super Bowl.
Yeah. That was
Russell Wilson.
team.
What's that?
That was a stacked team. That Steelers, because they actually had a defense.
Yeah, same thing with the Seahawks. You take away Russell Wilson from that Super Bowl, you put in another quarterback, they're going to win that Super Bowl because of their defense.
Yeah.
So, Joe Flacco, you remove him, put somebody else, that other quarterback would have won.
Yeah.
And we've had these kinds of situations happen before. Brad Johnson with the Buccaneers in 2002. You've had Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer with the Ravens in 2000. Like, you've had these quarterbacks that come up and lead them. Nick Foles with the Eagles. I mean, literally, Carson Wentz was out. Nick Foles came in and won it. So, I mean, you've seen it before. So, but there's certain quarterbacks that are bigger, and without you having that quarterback, your team doesn't compete. It's not a competing team. And that's what the Packers are right now. If they lose him, and assuming that Jordan Love comes out and he's one of those, like a rookie, comes out and plays like a rookie, that team's not going anywhere. So I do think that right now he's bigger than the franchise.
I do agree with you. I still don't think sometimes that QBs are bigger than the franchise. Except, like you said, except for those very few ones where
Special guys.
Yeah, exactly. Where, how they say like superstars are essentially they carry or they make up for whatever the team lacks type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like Brady, I mean, that dude can, whatever they lack in offense, he's just gonna do it, and in defense, stuff like that. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, I agree. Right, especially the Packers, bro. Like, I mean, that guy, because he's clutch. Like, he's just clutch. I mean, I'm not a fan, but I'm not like a hater or anything like that. I kind of respect the guy, but I know Cowboys fans hate him because he's always being in the playoffs and stuff like that. Not just the Cowboys, but just in general the teams, where it's just like he just comes in clutch, and I don't know. I guess I think the team should have better managed over the years, especially his career, dude. He should have won more than one Super Bowl. You know that.
Well, I mean, and that's one of the things. And for many years, that's what he would argue. Get me weapons, get me this, get me that, and I'll get you back to another Super Bowl. And, they would try, get a couple of guys here, get a couple of guys there, but they didn't really, it didn't really work out. And, so, and you can even argue right now, like Patrick Mahomes is probably getting close to that level where, he's probably bigger than a franchise. If they would have won the Super Bowl last year, for sure he's bigger than the franchise, because you look at how that team performed, and if he would have been able to pull it off himself, with that offensive line being horrible, and still would have been able to win that Super Bowl, then he's bigger than that franchise for sure. But that shows the weaknesses in that team. And it shows that even at Patrick Mahomes, he's been in the league 4 years, still has a lot of things to learn. He has a lot of things to improve on. And Patrick Mahomes is probably going to end up being one of those guys, where he's bigger than the franchise. So, we'll see, and we'll see how it goes forward. But I think the Packers need to do something fast, and they need to do something drastic to try and get Aaron Rodgers back in the building, because they're going to lose him whether they trade him or he retires, and they're not going to be able to get anything out of him. So.
Yeah, no. I think I don't know. Talk to me, Superfan Art. What do you think? At any point, is the quarterback larger than the team? I know specifically. I don't know. I guess you're a Cowboys fan, also Tosco, right? But just more like kind of going to our local teams. You know how Dak, he's one of the highest paid QBs now, right, in the league. Um, and they were talking how at first you get expectations where like he's a rookie, he goes 13, has 13 wins, has 10 wins, 9 wins, 8 wins. It's pretty good, right? But now we gave you the big contracts. We gave you money. Now you have to kind of win. And um, just kind of I think Dak. Don't get me wrong. Dak is is completely opposite of what this whole Rodgers drama is going, because he's actually like humble and cool and like but that's a big hit to the cap. The roster does suffer, and I don't know. It just we haven't really seen any team really win out. Where they're just they have a QB where he's getting paid that much money just because it doesn't receive a lot of help. But and I don't know, maybe he can be a Patrick Mahomes type of player. Maybe he can pull it off. I think he can, dude. I don't know. I feel like he just needs to kind of get a little bit more confidence, and I think he will. But I'll have just Superfan Art give me your thoughts on that, and just go back to Tosco. What do you think?
Well, first, let me preface this with some notions that my father has imparted on me. My father, he's from the old school Cowboys, the Staubachs, the fucking Landry days and stuff. So like
Danny White.
Exactly, he's seen the old school football. He's seen how the game has evolved, or maybe in some aspects de-evolved. Yeah, he's not in favor of these large contracts we've been seeing of late. I know Zeke from the Cowboys, he got a large sum of money maybe a few years back. And now Dak, he's already got his piece of the pie. But like their two big pieces makes everyone else pieces very smaller. He says, well, instead of giving the bank to Zeke, you could kind of spread the wealth a bit, get some more guys on defense or help buff up the offense, because maybe that's why, you know, ex quarterback keeps getting hurt. He didn't have enough time in the pocket because they cheaped out on their O line, which makes some sense. Now, going back to what you're saying about QBs and are they larger than the game? I agree with those. It's in certain aspects. You have those special cases, those like once every like 10 years players. I know Drew Brees from the New Orleans, like he was like, I don't know what age he retired, but he was already up there. Chingas of like accolades and records and stuff. Gave that city a very nice Super Bowl years back. Uh, Now currently they're in a competition between Taysom Hill and Winston, who's going to be the main guy there. But sometimes, if there's enough talent around, yes, you input any QB and instantly have success, a la Nick Foles Super Bowl for Carson Wentz a few years back. Now, is Dak Prescott at that state? Perhaps. We saw that they had a little bit of trouble during the Andy Dalton takeover. And so maybe Dak, he's not right at that elite status, but definitely he's a better insurance policy for the Cowboys at the moment. Aaron Rodgers, sadly, his status has already ballooned to be, you don't got him, you're going to be mediocre. You're going to be just some random Northwest.
Mediocre.
Yeah. Mediocre,
yeah. Yeah. You'd have Jordan Love for quarterback.
You're going to suck for a couple of years, yeah.
Tosco, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it also, I mean, you got to think about it and yes, I don't like the big contracts, obviously. I mean, now the Cowboys are in that big contract and then they're stuck. They're going to be stuck with Dak for a long time. We better get used to him. But my point with that is okay, we don't give him the bank, right? We let him go. What is better out there? See, we are in a state of the NFL where if you don't give him the bank, somebody else will. And you're going to end up having to deal with either a rookie or a veteran that somebody else didn't want. That means that if he didn't get the bank somewhere else, that means he didn't do good. So we Cowboys have to say, okay, are we willing to have Andy Dalton as our quarterback for the next year or two? Nick Foles as our quarterback for a year or two? Mitch Trubisky as your quarterback for a year or two? Blake Bortles for your quarterback for a year or two? Because these are the guys that are free agents. These are the guys that are around that you can go get. And if, let's say, you don't get one of those, you draft a rookie, take a chance, hopefully you hit, or your franchise is stuck for the next 4 years. So it's hard. It's a tough decision. It's hard to say, yes, don't give them the money. Or, you know what, give them the money. It's hard because what else is out there? So if we wouldn't have given Zeke the money, then we're going to be rolling with, guys who couldn't make it on other teams. Now they're free agents. That's going to be our running game now. So we give all this money to the offensive line and we don't have a good running back. I mean, it's a risk. And the thing is that, and what the worst part is we ended up drafting Tony Pollard, who can actually be a starter instead of Zeke. He had a really good year. He's showing that he can be a starter, but we didn't draft him like that. We didn't draft him to be a starter. We didn't draft him thinking that he was going to become a starter. Now that we have Tony Pollard, now we have the option to say, is Zeke really worth it? If not, he can go, right?
Yes.
So, but again, it's all perception. If not Dak, then who?
Yeah,
exactly. And is that second option better than Dak? And as we saw last year with Andy Dalton, no, it's not. So these are certain things, and you got to think about it in that way because, I mean, these contracts are not going to go away. And you're right. It used to be different back in the old days, and you would try and develop it. But even teams now, they don't want to hold these guys on for 3, 4, 5 years. They don't develop in 1, 2 years. Okay, what can we do to get them out? And it really shouldn't be that way.
Yeah,
these guys,
money, dude. It's money. Like,
exactly.
I'm just gonna cut that guy and get a younger dude.
Exactly. These guys need more than a year. Look at Denver. We just talked about Denver trying to get another quarterback. Drew Lock has been their quarterback for 2 years. His rookie year, he came in, I think, halfway. And then last year was his whole year, or had the whole year. He got hurt a couple games. And they're already getting rid of him. And yes, Drew Lock may have not. I don't think he was a first rounder. Maybe he was at the end, or he was a second rounder. But they're already giving up on this guy. So, why not? Before it wasn't like this. You got him. You're gonna stick with him. You're gonna try and see if he's the guy. But now it's different. So that's something we gotta see, and we gotta live with.
So he was number 42, second round.
Second round. He was a second round pick. So, I mean, it's just and because of these contracts, it starts giving people that perception of, oh, this guy's bigger than the game.
There we go. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, dude.
And Dak Prescott, I don't think Dak Prescott is bigger than the Cowboys.
No.
I think to some degree, but this is just me saying, I think to some degree he's very important because we saw last year we lost him and we couldn't win, right, with Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Now, granted, the Cowboys don't have a great team, to say, oh, just plug anybody in and we're still going to win all these games. It's a decent team with decent talent, and the quarterback elevates the team to a higher level.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't think Dak Prescott is bigger than the franchise just yet.
Yeah.
So But
Do you think Romo or okay? Let me back up. Do you think any? Because now the Cowboys brand is a big brand. Now, do you think any quarterback Cowboys QB or what's the last Cowboys QB that was bigger than the team? You think?
I don't think any of them were. Maybe the only one is probably Roger Staubach
I was gonna
back in
say.
the day. Because I mean, Tony Romo was good. He made Tony Romo was close. Tony Romo made a lot of things happen. Tony Romo set records. Tony Romo won games that we shouldn't have won. And he was close to transcending to being bigger than the franchise. But you look back and the teams, most of the teams that he had teams that had 8, 9, 10 Pro Bowlers. They had all these all pro linemen.
Yeah.
They were bringing in free agents. He had T.O. They had, they would bring in all these guys, right? Defensively off of Leonard Davis. They would bring in all those that Pac-Man Jones. They brought in a bunch of guys, right? DeMarco Murray. No, wait, we got him first, right? And then we let him go. Or did we got him from something? No, we drafted him.
No, I think you got him first.
Yeah, we drafted him.
Yeah. From Oklahoma State, I think, no?
Oklahoma. And the point being though is I think he had a way better team. I think if you would have removed Tony Romo and put in another quarterback that maybe wasn't as good as Romo, maybe a little bit less, the team would have still been a playoff team. Now, Romo made that team better, but again, Romo, I mean, we couldn't win a game past the first round. He won a couple of games in the first round, and that's it. So that's another thing. So is he really bigger than the franchise?
Now,
so
let me pose a quick question real quick. Do you think Jerry Jones is bigger than the franchise?
Oh, Jerry Jones is a franchise. He owns it.
But
so he tries to be himself bigger than a franchise. But I guess the way I see it with Jerry Jones runs this team like a fan. He sees these players and he's like, oh, it'd be awesome to have this player, he's super fast. I want this player. Or, you know what? This player, he's going to give me he's going to sell so many jerseys. He's going to bring in so much money. And, imagine if I had a team with these guys. Oh, it'd be awesome. Let me go get these guys. I don't think he really does it with football expertise in mind. So, I mean, I don't know how long he's going to last, but he's already lasted too long. All right. And we need his son.
You sound frustrated, Tosco.
Oh, it is what it is, man. I mean, he's made he's made some decisions before that weren't great. And he still makes decisions that aren't great. But we have to live with it. I mean, he's the one. He bought the Cowboys, brought them out of obscurity in the 80s. They were great in the 90s. He basically built that team. And now when he started, he did make good moves. He made a lot of great moves. And those 3 Super Bowls in the 90s, not only was him and it was Jimmy Johnson, they created that team. They got those players. They were able to create that team that was awesome. And it only lasted for so long because then he started drafting guys that were, this guy's going to be fun. And, let me bring in this guy. He's going to be cool. But it didn't really help the team. And so, and that kind of went on into the 2000s. And, the 2000s were not great. And then it wasn't until the end of the 2000s when we started getting Tony Romo and we started, Bill Parcells coming in and Wade Phillips and better coaches that kind of got us going. But, I mean, it's hard to say, a quarterback's bigger than a franchise. I can only think of a few. I think Arturo brought up a good example. Drew Brees. Drew Brees was one of those too. If you look at that Saints team that won that Super Bowl, that Saints team it was a good defense. Wasn't a great defense.
Yeah, it was.
I think it was
suspect, dude. It was very suspect.
And the whole Katrina thing and everything happening, and I think he was bigger than the franchise at that moment. Yes. So.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree with that. Where, it's just one of those things where the it just depends on the situations, depends on the impact, I think.
Mhm.
Where if without this guy you cannot win, then obviously he's gonna have a greater impact. You see all these, especially the quarterback, dude. Quarterback is a very unique position that allows you to like really, I mean, affect the game directly and
Mhm.
more than anything. I think it's they say it's one of the harder positions in sports or whatever. I don't know necessarily about that, but I think it's pretty close.
I
Uh,
mean, I think it is. I think
yeah,
it really is.
I think it is too. I mean, we could all, I guess, argue with it, but I think it's pretty close. Especially because you're getting like hit and you need to read stuff, and I mean, a whole bunch of stuff is going on. But I think, like you said, some quarterbacks. I think Rodgers does fit. I do Drew Brees as well.
I'll tell you this as being a coach, and even with middle schoolers and high schoolers, you can place any kind of kid in any position you think they will succeed. But you need a kid that is, I'm not gonna say smart, but a kid that knows what he's doing, that can, you know, analyze things at a different level in the quarterback position. You need a kid in the quarterback position. You need a kid, one of your linemen, maybe your center. You need a kid like that as your one of your corners or your safety, and you need one of those kids as a linebacker. Because these are the kids that are gonna be able to see something, adjust, and tell everybody else. So you need those kids that analyze things at higher level, a higher level of thinking, and that's the same with the NFL. You can't put somebody that's dumb at quarterback, because then they're not going to succeed. For example, Jamarcus Russell. So,
Oh man.
and so that's one of the things. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
You can do that
so
like
you
three
you you
times.
and you do need somebody there, and I think that makes it tough. Not
Yeah.
only the physical part, but the mental awareness that you need to read defense, make the right read, and then have the capability of being in the pocket, escaping if you need to, and then being able to make the throw. So it's a lot, and it's. I think I agree. It's one of the hardest things you have to do in sports. Um, but uh, but yeah, I mean that's why it's so valuable.
Yeah. So, we're gonna actually transition right into our next segment. So we're actually gonna do a couple of I guess we'll go into the boxing world a little bit. Not really boxing world, more like we'll actually talk how it affects the boxing world. How about let's just set the stage that way. Yeah, there we go. So obviously, this was this past weekend. If if you guys, been if you guys pay attention, stuff like that. There's been obviously there's a lot of things going on with the playoffs or whatever, but there was an actual exhibition match, Paul versus Mayweather. I'll go ahead and actually have, I guess I have super fan art. You know about that, right? About this? No.
I was aware there was a fight going on. It was an exhibition.
Yeah, go ahead.
The It was actually this past Sunday,
Uh
as
huh.
opposed to when fights are normally, Saturday night and all that stuff.
Prime time.
It was Floyd Money Mayweather versus YouTuber Logan Paul, which is the bigger brother of the Paul brothers.
Jake.
Jake Paul is also amateur boxer as well.
Yeah. Logan Paul.
And pretty much the rules were set that it was strictly exhibition. There was going to be no winner at all. I don't even know if there was like a purse to be won. I don't know if there was any proceeds going to any special foundations or whatever. Point is, both guys got paid. It actually went all 8 rounds, which surprised everybody because Floyd Money Mayweather, he's always looking to knock somebody down like within 4 rounds or less. So this, I mean, granted, it was a different weight class. I think Logan Paul was at least, maybe foot taller. I don't know how many more pounds he had on Mayweather. So yeah, there was a bit of a weight class differential, but still, I mean, amateur versus like world champion, it should have been a no brainer. But much to everyone's opinion, it was kind of a hug fest. to put it lightly. Uh, so it did go the distance. People did pay to watch this fight, mind you. I think it was about 50 some bucks. Uh, I'm sure other people didn't pay for it, and they're more happier for not doing so. So yeah, it was an exhibition. It had mixed reviews from the boxing world. Mostly, the consensus has been negative. Uh, I, for one, am glad I didn't pay to watch it or even see it in its entirety. And what I did see was a lot of hugging, maybe a little bit of kissing and smooching. I don't know. Tosco, what's your thoughts on this exhibition game match? Excuse me.
Uh, it's um, it's an embarrassment for the sport, really. That's
Damn
what
straight.
it is.
Tell it how it
Uh,
is.
it's an embarrassment for the sport. Not because you have a YouTuber boxing. That's not the reason why. It's because you have a Hall of Famer boxing a YouTuber. Um, you could have easily have gotten guys that were former champions, guys that maybe were a little bit popular here and there, guys that have a name, that have been in big fights but are not necessarily champions or winners, fighting Logan Paul. My biggest question is, what did Logan Paul do to be able to say or have the opportunity to fight Floyd Mayweather? Fight, and I'm going to say fight, right? Because that wasn't even a fight. What? Because he's popular? If that's what we're basing ourselves on, then the sport is lost. And if he is serious about wanting to have a career in boxing, right, which apparently Showtime Sports does because they gave him a contract for multiple fights, he should be fighting in his weight class, and he should be fighting wrestlers at his level, which I mean is rookie boxers that are barely professional boxers, and start there and then work your way up to say, hey, I am a contender for a championship belt. I am undefeated. I am this, I am that. I beat all these guys that are 10th best, 5th best, 6th best in the world. Then to get in the conversation of saying, hey, I want the big guns, right? Or even say, I'll fight Mayweather, right?
Yeah. How do you get the right to call down the champ to even be in the same ring as the champ?
And the thing is that Mayweather plays a big part in this because Mayweather is, we all know what he is like. Nobody likes his personality. Nobody likes the way he is, his attitude towards things. He's a great boxer. He's a Hall of Fame boxer. He's a legendary boxer. The sport of boxing. As a person, he sucks. He's a horrible person, right? And
a human being
God,
and
dang,
humanity,
really feel.
he sucks.
And he's doing this to get money, but he's doing this at putting down
the expense,
embarrassing at boxing's expense, because that's the only thing he knows. So, yeah, this thing happened, and it wasn't a boxing match, I'll tell you that. And I'm glad I didn't pay for it. And I didn't even watch the whole complete fight. I watched, highlights. I went in and watched certain rounds that they said that was boxing happening, because out of the 8 rounds, 6 of them were just hugging, walking around, hugging, because Logan Paul was exhausted in a match that wasn't even a boxing match, because Mayweather wasn't really boxing. He was playing around with him. For Mayweather, this was a walk in the park. Literally. Logan Paul maybe landed a couple pitches, but what is it? What if it's an exhibition and he was there and they wanted this for popular? What's to say that they didn't agree to this before to say, hey, Logan, you're going to land a couple of punches, and then Mayweather's going to land a couple of more, and then we'll go from there. You know, what's to say that didn't happen? Because I didn't see Mayweather when he was fighting Manny Pacquiao. I didn't see Mayweather versus Marquez. I didn't see Mayweather versus Canelo.
I mean, you can argue, dude. I mean, are we getting close to like, I mean, not to put it down, but are we getting close to wrestling?
I mean, that's what we have to do. Then go over there to WWE. That's more what they did. I mean, and what I was trying to say is, I saw all those fights. What I meant is, I didn't see that Mayweather. I didn't see Mayweather versus Canelo. I didn't see that Mayweather that fought in that fight. I didn't see him versus this.
No,
that's not the same boxer. I didn't see Mayweather versus all the Marquez's fights, the Marquez fight. I didn't see that Mayweather.
No, that was crazy.
I mean, that was. This is a totally different Mayweather. I was just taking a walk in the park. And it's an embarrassment for the sport. Yes, people can say, "Oh, we're bringing in all these other people from a different genre coming in to see this because Logan Paul's a YouTuber and he has all these fans and he's so popular." Cool for them, but not cool for us that actually enjoy boxing. You know, this is don't set it as a boxing match then. Go send it to WWE. Go put it in WrestleMania. Because that's what they do there, not here. And then to say, oh, there's no winner. Well, what the hell is that? Oh, they have all these specific rules. There's no winner. There's this. There's that. I mean, is this boxing or not? You know, what's going on? And so, and a lot of people, and the reason why they did that is so that the fans of Logan Paul can say, oh yeah, he stuck in there with a Hall of Famer and he did this. Well, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. He did nothing of the sort. Okay, he did absolutely nothing. He was struggling to keep up with a 40-something-year-old Mayweather who has who showed little boxing technique, to tell you the least, and he was struggling in. So, I mean, if this guy really wants to have a boxing career, put him in the heavyweights. That's how much he weighs, 189 pounds versus 147, almost a foot advantage. And he's still, like, he was struggling. You have that much weight on him, hit him in the body. Hit him as hard as you can. It's going to hurt him more. Yeah. Because you have a heavier punch.
Yeah.
You have more weight to put behind that punch. Put him in the heavyweights. Let him go up against Andy Reese. Let him go up against Luis Ortiz. Get him go up against Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. They'll destroy him in a heartbeat. If he really goes in the division that he needs to be in, they'll destroy him in a heartbeat. So it's a joke, man. It really is. And they shouldn't sell it as, you know, boxing, because it's not. You know, it really wasn't. And for all of you, the pay-per-view sold 1 million pay-per-views, right? 1 million pay-per-views. 1 million people got gypped.
I'm interested to hear what Evan might have, what your comments are on this, Evan. For those of you who don't know, Evan at one point did actually go to the gym. He was trying to get some amateur boxing status. I'm not sure what weight class you would have been considered with, but he has been in the ring. He saw some ring action. He knows what it's like to actually train as a fighter. What's your opinion on how this exhibition took place, Evan?
Yeah, playing out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, looking at Mayweather, he put up his stance and everything. He looked great. Moving really fast. Could Logan do the same? Yeah, he should have. That dude, Logan, he didn't put his hands up like this ever throughout the match. Like, this type of stance is like that's just a really cocky stance. It's a bullshit cocky stance, and that's what I saw the whole match, and I was kind of concerned. You know, you're going against the Money Mayweather. You think you want to block your face? Well, And one little thing I also wanted to say about this match. At the very beginning, you saw Paul like drive it in towards Mayweather, and at the every other round, yeah, he couldn't do that ever again. Like literally, you have body advantage. You could body the hell out of Mayweather. Um, damn. Yeah. And now that Dosco has said it, yeah, we all have phones. We can text each other. Hey, do this round 6. Hey, do this round 7. Man, it could have been that easy. But
Orchestrated.
Yeah, man, boxing seems to have, it's always been about money. It's always been flashy. There's always these flyers that look like there's so much money involved. I think this past Sunday was they kind of exposed themselves for how just fake and shitty the industry can be sometimes. Like it's always been that way, but now it's like, wow, they're being blatant about it. Their next move is probably going to be just as ridiculous.
And that's a great point, Evan. That's exactly right. This exposed boxing for how money hungry and greedy they are. And the worst part is, it was done for Logan Paul. That's the worst part.
It's terrible, man. Downvotes.
Now, don't get me wrong. Let's say Logan Paul comes back and they give him a thing, and it's Logan Paul versus, I don't know, a UFC fighter or a boxing guy, a lower, Andy Reese, right? A guy that beat somebody once. He's popular with the Mexican crowd and whatever. He doesn't have a belt, whatever. That would have been cool. I would have been fine with that. I have no problems with that. Logan Paul wants to be a boxer. Be a boxer, bro. You go train. You go learn. You're in shape. Awesome. Do that. Cool. But my thing is, why does it have to be a show? Why does it have to be like, oh, let's do it. Oh, look at my little trick. Oh, look at this. Let me show you what I have. And then, no, dude. If it's boxing, it's boxing. Be real about it. Be in a boxing match. If you're really training for it, like Evan said, why are you going in there with this stance? Obviously, if he's going in there with that stance, he already knew he wasn't going to get hit hard. Because Mayweather would have seen that in the old days. Mayweather would have gone in and Mayweather would have gone a knockout. Mm-hmm. And for him to go in there, he knew he wasn't going to get hard. Coming in cocky and shit. Nobody would ever go in with a professional boxer being cocky, knowing that he's gonna put hands on you,
bro. Like,
because he's gonna knock you out.
You see these people that like they pick like bar fights with like amateur MMA fighters and amateur fight like at bars, dude. Like, and then like yeah, I can take this guy, whatever. He doesn't look like shit. Like, dude, first of all, it's like soccer's like. Specifically, like one of the things that like I always say, like the real difference between amateurs and professionals isn't strength, whatever, experience, whatever, is precision. The fact that they're a lot more precise people than just straight amateurs. Like how we say, like, the last player in the roster of the shittiest NBA team can still beat out everyone in Lifetime Fitness. Like. Yeah. The lowest ranking, MMA boxer or professional boxer or whatever can still like kill you, like literally.
Yes. Literally. Anybody, any amateur, any citizen, any person. That the weakest, the shittiest, the guy who has lost the most in boxing and in UFC would still beat the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
Because he has those skills to be a professional. He has enough skills for somebody to say, hey, we're going to sign you because we think you're good enough. And if it were that easy, then everybody would do it. Yeah. But not everybody does.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right, Danny. The worst guy in the NBA will still beat anybody at any part. The worst guy, the worst college quarterback will still be better than any of us throwing the ball around, and in the park, in the field, whatever. Bro, he's gonna be way better.
Tell him the story, our story freshman year when we played that team.
We went to the University of Texas at San Antonio So we would go and we would go to the fields and we'd go and we'd run around, we'd throw the ball around as a group of friends, right? And we would play football, we play touch, we play tackle, whatever. One day, there's this group of guys that comes and they're telling us, they see us playing around. They're like, hey, can we play with you guys? We're like, oh, okay, sure, right? And, you know, to be there, you had to be a student. Well, you had to be a student of the university. And they were, right? But we're looking at these guys and we were playing tackle, right? And then it's like, we were like, what, 7 or 8? We were actually like around 10. And they're like, there were 3. And they go, just give us 3 guys, and the rest of you will play against us. We're like, oh, okay, sure, right? And we gave them the 3 guys, you know, whoever the pick was, whatever decided. Yeah, these guys were transfers from. One was from like Arkansas. He was a punter, kicker. The other guy was from like the University of Miami, a cornerback. And the other guy was like a university from like North Carolina, something like that.
It was bad.
Ex-football players that transferred into UTSA, right? And they want to play football against us. And we're like, you know, whatever. These guys couldn't cut it, you know, at these universities. Yeah, they couldn't cut it. They were running 4.2s. They were tackling us. They were destroying us on the field. We all came out massacred. Like, these guys are at a different level. You know, these guys are at a different level. They've been training all their lives to be their best, to go in to have an opportunity, you know? And for this guy, and I'm not saying Logan Paul doesn't deserve the opportunity. Sure, he does, right? But he doesn't deserve the opportunity to go up against. Yeah, he doesn't deserve the opportunity to go up against a Hall of Famer on his first match, his second match. After, by the way, he lost his first match to another YouTuber, right? His first match, he lost to KSI, right? I don't even know who that guy is, but I know he's a YouTuber, right? So he lost to a YouTuber, and now his second match, he gets to have an exhibition fight versus Mayweather. This was just a money move,
bro,
and it's embarrassing.
Sobre Tosco.
We both end up getting hurt. So that Evan was right. It was a complete money move, and it tarnishes the boxing community. It tarnishes boxing as a sport. And because now everybody thinks of it as a joke, because now anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. Next YouTuber, let's go. Have an exhibition fight versus, you know, whoever, you know, and it discredits all the champions that we have now. Imagine if they put Logan Paul versus a champion, right? And then they orchestrate it so that Logan Paul can win. And now you have Logan Paul as a champion. It discredits all the champions that have ever come before him.
Yeah.
Because that guy is not really a boxer.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's like a Team Tebow move, kind of. Like when he went to the minor leagues.
No, because at least Tim Tebow was a professional athlete that did it for years, was a professional football player, and transitioned to be a professional, tried to be a professional baseball player. And let's think about it. He was professional, but he never made it to the major league.
He did it.
If they would have put him in the major leagues, then it would have been a money move. But they never did.
Yeah.
In spring training, the preseason, they brought him up. Oh, he's on the Mets, whatever. But when the season started, you're going back down, buddy. You're not good enough. And that's what they should be doing with Logan Paul. Fine, you want to make money off him because he's super popular and he has all these fans, cool. Put him in some fights, but put him in the undercards. Put him in versus the younger guys, other guys that are coming up. See how he does. People are going to watch because he has fans. They can go and he'll work himself up and earn the right to go up for a belt. Not just give it to him and give him the opportunity to fight a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
I mean, and I don't know. I just agree. You know, I wish I could say that, you know, it does bring more new fans to the sport. But I mean, it's kind of like that organic growth. It's kind of, I was going to say, it's like organic growth. So let me ask you this.
So let's say that out of the 1 million people who bought the pay-per-view, let's say half of them were Mayweather fans, half of them were Logan Paul fans.
Yeah.
And in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a pay-per-view fight. The Mayweather fans, I can tell you there's going to be a good amount of those that are going to buy that fight.
Yeah,
Are the Logan Paul fans gonna buy that fight?
probably not.
Is Logan Paul or Jake Paul fighting or another YouTuber fighting?
Probably not. I mean,
So then, are they gonna be attracted to go and buy another pay per view that one of their guys is not in?
and it's so fucked up, dude. Because like, no offense, but it's just so fucked up because viewership is all equal. So whether you be like a super fan of the sport or just be a casual fan, you just end up buying like, oh man, it's a fight. Yeah, man, I'm just cooking out, I have money, just buy the. It like
Yeah, split it.
it
Split
really I don't know. I feel like it really kind of downgrades like the quality of like the like how they view the sport, or like how because Showtime and all them, they just care about viewership. They just care about someone actually
Yeah,
paid
of
for
course.
this or whatever. But I don't know. I feel like it kind of damages, like you said, like the image, where it's just like, I understand viewership and I understand money and I understand you need, it's it's all about, you need to pay the bills and stuff. But come on, dude. Like, I mean, it's the sport. Boxing doesn't really get a lot of, that doesn't have 82 games a year, 17
Mm-mm.
weeks, or
Mm-mm.
anything like that. It does have its leagues here and there, Friday night fights and stuff like that. But in reality, like the big ones are what, like you get what, like maybe 6 a year or something.
Well, pay per views.
Yeah,
Like big name pay per
Maybe,
views.
yeah, maybe one a month, maybe. So 10, maybe 10 to 12. In a
yeah.
good year, you might have a few more.
But like a
You
good one,
know,
like good ones where like you would actually. Oh, well, I guess like yeah.
well, no, I mean, you kind of like all the pay per view ones, and I'm talking about championship fights. Like,
Correct.
I'm not
correct.
talking about,
No,
I'm
no,
not talking
no.
about
Yeah. Like
these
this.
exhibition things.
This,
I'm not
yeah.
talking about other things that they're trying to make happen with like celebrities and YouTubers and stuff. Not those. I'm talking about real championship boxing pay per views. You probably have between, I'm gonna say, 8 or 10 to 12 a year. Sometimes you'll get a little bit more depending on how many good boxers we have and if they're marketable, right? Because they don't just give the pay per view to anybody. You can be a champion,
Yeah.
like Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin was a champion for I think 2 years before they even gave him a pay per view. Why? Because Gennady Golovkin was not marketable. Because Gennady Golovkin did not know how to speak English, did not know how to speak Spanish. He only knew how to speak. I'm sorry, I think it was just Russian or whatever it was, right? Because
Yeah.
he comes from Kazakhstan. So my point being is he was a champion for a year, 2 years before they even gave him a pay-per-view. All his main events, all his championship fights were on Showtime, HBO. They weren't on pay-per-view because he wasn't marketable. Gennady Golovkin had to learn how to speak English. He had to learn how to speak Spanish. And now he does interviews in English and in Spanish. And once that happened, he started getting pay-per-views. And then he got pay-per-views against Canelo and then all that. And Gennady Golovkin is a pay-per-view fighter now. But he wasn't at the beginning because they couldn't market him. Manny Pacquiao, pay-per-view. It wasn't at the beginning. When he was in the lower weights, he wasn't a pay-per-view fighter. He got to the welterweight against all the big guns. He became a pay-per-view guy, right? And now he's becoming a pay-per-view guy again. He was down for a little bit. Now he's becoming a pay-per-view guy again at 41. He's 41 and he's a champion still. So, I mean, the pay-per-views it's like a special thing. It's not something that just is thrown out there, And even think about it. Even when it was Mayweather versus McGregor, right? That happened a couple of years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was. That was still passable because at least McGregor was a full-time UFC fighter, athlete at the top of his game, right? And you know what? He came over, whatever. There's no problem with that because was it a money move? Yes. But at the same time, I can think of it as a more equal playing field because this guy is also an athlete that has trained to be a fighter. And he's put in his dues. He's won champions. He's been a champion. He's been pay-per-view fighter. So I understand now that the fight turned out to be good. No, because obviously he's going from one discipline of fighting to a different one, and it didn't really translate.
Yeah.
But I was still okay with that. This is just dumb. This is stupid.
Now, don't mean to interject here, but some feedback on YouTube was this whole farce of a fight with Logan Paul, that even though it was, an essential black eye to the boxing industry, that it could have maybe started introducing some of the younger generations to boxing, maybe like a gateway pay-per-view to have, get the young TikTokers, so to say, or millennials, start getting them a little more enticed to join the sport. What do you think about that angle there?
Okay, so if they're into the sport, it's obviously going to be very hard to measure, right? Because think about it. If we were to say, okay, the next pay-per-view, we'll see how much they sell, right? But if you get somebody like Canelo, I'm going to buy the pay-per-view, right? Because I know that Canelo's going to fight somebody good. It's going to be a good pay-per-view because they're not just going to throw a scrap in with Canelo, right? So I know, so those pay-per-view numbers are going to be high because you're going to have tons of people who may not even be boxing fans, but are Canelo fans, and they're going to buy the pay-per-view. So I think saying buying pay-per-views can be flawed, but I really don't think that these kids, these TikTokers, and again, we're in a generation where these young kids, it's a short attention span generation. Look at what we started with. Yeah, we went through YouTube, right? We hate the fact that we have to wait those 6 seconds to skip an ad, right? We hate that situation. And then we go from YouTube to Vines, and Vines were what, 30 seconds to a minute, right? Or even more sometimes, right? Got rid of that. Now we're on Snapchat, right? And it's like, oh, whatever I have, whatever I need to say, doesn't matter. Okay, put it out there, right? And now it's TikToks that, again, same thing. You're watching, it's a 10, 20, 30, 60-second video that if you start watching and you're not into it for 3, 4, 5 seconds, swipe, next one. 3, 4, 5, no, next. Oh, 2, no, next. Oh, this one, I'll stay for this one. 30 seconds, I'm tired of it, next. Like,
oh yeah, but I mean,
is this really gonna stay in their minds?
No, and I think I don't know. I'm a marketing major, right? So I believe in just kind of like the power of marketing itself. I think I kind of understand, kind of like trying to reach that TikTok audience because we're the short attention span, type of thing. But I feel like it's a generational thing. But I feel we all kind of got used to it as well.
What?
Quick, now, give it to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's very where, you have your Netflix, where next episode, we don't need to click it anymore. We have Amazon Prime where we can order anything home, right? Just kind of getting off topic off of that. But really, at the end of the day, I understand marketing to like a new segment, but what are you telling them?
That's great.
That this is how it is? No. Like,
and that the more money and more popular you have, the more access you'll get to celebrities and to be able to do whatever you want, because that's what you're saying.
Correct.
Because Logan Paul was a YouTuber who got back popularity. I mean, he was already big. Don't get me wrong. I know he was. But then got back popularity because he was buying Pokemon cards, okay?
Oh.
And he bought, those 10 Charizards, and he came out with a Charizard on his necklace.
Yeah.
And he gained the resurgence because of that. And then, because of his brother, who's also trained to be a boxer, had those fights, and he's becoming popular, now he gets thrown in there because he's popular. He's gonna make money. That's all the criteria you have. You're talking like Art said, the TikTokers. Those are entitled kids too. Those kids are 18, 19, 20-year-olds that are millionaires because they make TikToks of them dancing and jumping off, buildings and doing all these things.
boxing instructional videos.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, I get it. Cool. There's a market for that. You become a millionaire through that. Awesome. But now they're going to think they're entitled. And well, I have money too. And I'm popular. I want to go. The next thing is, I want to go be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. You know what? Jerry Jones, let's make this happen.
Well,
Let's make it happen.
Honestly, he probably would. Honestly.
I mean, why not, right? Jerry Jones wants popularity. He wants money. He wants more fans. And let's throw him in here for a preseason game. Hey, get him in here, right? Kid has never played. That's what we're going to. That's what you're saying. That's what this is throwing out there. Oh, hey, I want to go play with LeBron on the Lakers. Hey, Kylie, you're good. Let's go.
Yeah, dude. Just
you have money. You have fans. You have a million followers.
Hey, what's your shirt size? Are you medium or? Yeah, dude. Oh, okay, got you.
Got it right here. Get it.
Boom.
Like, that's what you're saying. That's what happened.
10-hour contract. 10 hour, not even 10 days.
Oh yeah. And that's what you're saying. These kids have done shit. They barely even finish high school. They don't go to college, right? And if they do, okay, they finish. But they're not. That's not their focus. Their focus is social media. Their focus is becoming popular, so that they could show up. That's where this is going to. That's what this proved, if anything.
Yeah, so, and I think, like I said, I think boxing does need a resurge, just like, I think it just needs to do it the right way, just like the old school way, promote your boxers,
And one of and I'll tell you how this is going to, one of the things that boxing should take advantage of is they have a boxer, Ryan Garcia. He's a young guy. He's an up and coming guy. He has 10 million TikTok followers. He's huge on TikTok. He's always with those TikTokers. He's punching them, how strongly, if they can take a punch, he's dancing with them. This is the approach they should take. Use somebody like Ryan Garcia, who's an actual boxer, who's a young guy, who appeals to all these TikTokers. Market the crap out of this guy to them. This is how you gain an audience. Using a guy like Ryan Garcia, not Logan Paul, because the guys from Logan Paul are just YouTubers that watch him and they're going to go back to watching YouTube or playing video games. Because let's be honest, those are the guys that watch him, right? And they're not going to think about going to go order the next pay-per-view where Errol Spence is fighting Terrence Crawford or Manny Pacquiao. They're not going to see that. They don't care about that. Yeah. Oh, is there a YouTuber guy? Nah, it's cool. I'll watch the next one. They're not gonna come back. They're not. Maybe you'll get a few, but not the thousands and thousands that you would like. You need to use, if you want that audience, you need somebody like Ryan Garcia, a boxer that is young, boxers that are young, that are into social media. Market those guys out to them. That's how you get these YouTubers, these TikTokers, these young generations kids to go in there and follow boxing. So they just need to take a different approach, man, if that's what they want.
Yeah, and I think it's like, I think so too. It's just, and I understand kind of keeping the traditional aspects of the game, more, where, obviously, the whole promoting your boxers, the promotion things. But like you said, there hasn't actually been anyone right now that has been, been brought up like that. And I don't know. I think it really does have to do. I don't know. How boxing doesn't really have a very actual centralized kind of like a league, not necessarily a league, but it's something where like it's very, there's like there is a national ranking, but it's everything, every kind of weight class is kind of their own thing. You know what I mean?
Well, it's because there's like 5 sanctioning bodies. That's why you have so many belts. That's why you see Canelo has like 4 or 5 belts, because there's different sanctioning bodies, and they have their own specific belt, and each of them rank their weight classes differently. Well, a lot of them are the same, right? They all have Canelo number 1, cool. But then, some might differ from others, and who they would give a title shot to. And could that get a little bit confusing? Yes. Why does he have 3 belts? Why does he have 4 belts? Why does this guy, if he's this champion, then why does that guy also have a belt? And why does this guy have a belt? And yeah, it could get a little bit difficult, but I guess once somebody gets into boxing, you start seeing that, it's different divisions, and then there's different belts within each division, and that's why you have so many champions and stuff like that. It becomes a little bit easier to understand, but once you get into it, and but yeah, I mean, I can see where it could be a little bit overwhelming at the beginning for somebody new trying to get into the sport, not knowing why and how and what's going on. So
and one of the things that we'll do, just like here at Mezzo Forte Sportz, we'll go and start getting a little bit more into actual boxing, the actual sport of it, the leagues, and the just like the actual kind of, just to kind of maybe teach our audience a little bit, and maybe we'll learn a little bit more about it as we kind of maybe research, kind of going along with that, instead of just these exhibition fights, but us actually watching actual boxing, and how the actual art of and sport of that.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, first of all, we're already after 10 p.m. And as always, I need to mention that we are Mezzo Forte Sportz After Dark. It says we're bar talk. We're going to talk about what we're sipping on, munching on. Currently, I'm sipping on some Coors Light. The mountains were blue earlier, but we've been talking a lot, so they got a little bit less cold. Evan, what are you sipping on or eating?
Hey, internet. I'm sipping on some tequila. It's humidor and sparkling water flavored.
Classy. I like it. Coach Tosco, what's going, man? What are you sipping on?
I got some agua. It's from the tap. It's real good. It's a little bit different, but I like it.
Smacks.
All right.
Nice.
That's fine. That's fine. Staying hydrated for all the drinking you're going to do over the weekend. And Danny.
That's exactly right.
What are you drinking, Danny? Or munching on?
Yeah, I was drinking water. I was actually drinking a Humex earlier, believe it or not. Yes.
I don't believe it.
If you guys know what Humex is, it's really good. Google it. Jumex. Best juices ever. I don't know. This is good way. But no drinking
cool.
for me. I work tomorrow. Tomorrow's my Friday, though. Obviously, tomorrow is Friday, but I get paid. So, shots and the first round is on me. Those go
Look at that.
Kylie or what?
Excellent. All right. Well, cheers to all of you, and cheers to those of you at home watching this on YouTube and all of our other platforms. Salud.
Salud.
This is the last thing before we move out of boxing. Talking about how all these crappy exhibitions are good or bad for the sport. One good thing that somebody posted on YouTube was how we were able to actually enjoy some other exhibitions, mainly, for example, the Mike Tyson and the Roy Jones fight. Now, both of them are legendary boxers in their own right. It was an exhibition, but we were actually entertained by that. There were, big names who have paid their dues throughout the years. They didn't just hug it out. They actually did, it was a slugfest. It was a pretty enjoyable one.
Dude.
I think Mike Tyson mentioned he's willing to do more of those old stars. It's like grudge matches. Tosco, what do you think about those?
Well, before that, it's like, dude, stop. You need to have the new generation. The sport has to evolve. You can't just go back to, the default. Let's go back to the LeBron. Let's go back to the Kobe. Let's go back to the things that we know work. Especially for a sport like boxing, it has to evolve. You have to introduce the youth into it. I understand, everyone knows of Mike Tyson's and stuff like that. But maybe use Mike Tyson and as a platform to introduce someone new. That's what was it Oscar de la Hoya did, and so did Julio Cesar Chavez or whatever, when they're respective, companies.
Well, I agree with both of you, and
we need to talk NBA playoffs, guys. Come on. All right, go ahead. Let's go.
We already know who's winning there. what's it called? I agree with both of you in small parts. I do agree that having the Mike Tyson, exhibitions are fun and they're good to see. But we know what they are. And he's fighting another old boxer. So we know that we're not, whatever we see, is from two old guys that used to be great. And we're trying to see, they're putting it out there just for fun. And it's understood, whatever. And the other fights, and that's where the Jake Paul fought his first match, and he beat Nate Robinson. And that was a great platform for that because he fought a former NBA player. He fought him. It was fun to see. Those were exhibition matches that were fun to see. It was cool. They had concerts in between. And then they had another one after with Jake Paul when he fought the Ben Askren, the UFC guy. And those were fun to see too. And even though they're some of them are exhibition, and I think there was a couple of real boxing fights in there too. Those were fun to see. Those were things that it's another kind of platform to get into and watch as a boxing fan, right? But you're going there, you know what you're going there for, right? And you're not expecting, you're not going up against, a no-name, no-name boxer or a celebrity versus a Hall of Fame boxer. You're going evens here, right? Now, I do agree with Danny. It does need to have a platform for a way for fans to help improve the sport. Now, I do think this does bring in fans, though. It does. Does it help the current state of boxing? No, it doesn't. But it does bring in more fans to see these exhibition boxing matches. But they're watching to see the other which celebrity is going to get knocked out. They're watching to see, Justin Bieber had a concert in one of them, and the baby or little baby had a concert in this one, and Snoop Dogg is performing, and all this, and that's what they're watching. It's more of a show, than an actual sporting event. And I think Mike Tyson is not, whatever he's doing with Thriller, because it's with Thriller, it's not going to be to where, we're introducing new boxers. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But it's another way to see. It's like, it's like saying this. It's like watching boxing, and then we have kind of like the WWE of boxing. And it's okay knowing, and at least in my head, and I know I'm not saying it's fake because they're hitting the shit out of each other. But what I'm saying is boxing, the pay-per-views that we have now with the real professionals and the champions, that's serious. We know what we're watching. We know what we're getting ourselves into.
Yeah, like the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yes, exactly.
NBA. Come on, dude.
Exactly.
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
I know I'm going in to see something cool, like something crazy happen, and whatever happens.
Yeah, I mean that's just what it is. I mean, I for me, I'm on about entertainment, but again, to me, sport is a competition, between like two parties to win. Like,
and there was winners there.
Yeah, there's win. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like boxing and stuff, like exhibition fights and stuff. Oh, this is cool. Like, dude, this is circus. Like,
Oh yeah, and I agree. And don't get me wrong.
I mean, and it sells, but I don't know. It's like,
and not all boxing fans are into that. And I can tell you that out of all that, probably boxing fans were only really wanted to see Mike Tyson and Roy Jones just because we never got that in real life.
Yeah.
And it was one of those matches that we always wanted to see, and it didn't happen.
That was true. That had a huge nostalgia feeling in there.
And so, and that's cool, whatever. Mike Tyson said he wants to fight Evander Holyfield again. And it's like, okay, well, we'll see what happens, whatever. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, that's cool. I'm not waiting and hoping it happens, but point being is I kind of know what I'm getting myself into there, and the boxing matches are more on a level playing field than what happened on Sunday. And on Sunday, they weren't selling it as a, oh, come watch this show, entertainment. It was more like, this is going to be a real boxing match, and we're going to go at it, and I'm going to beat the shit out of him, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and that never happened. And it was just
posters all over, like Buffalo Wild Wings in the men's room.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, they're playing tonight?
Yeah, and so, no, that was an embarrassment.
All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and move on. Art, if you give me a chance.
It was YouTube who
right
wanted
into
to just
our
get the
NBA
site.
playoffs real quick. We'll go ahead and just go into the West. So we're actually gonna just do right as we just gonna continue on watching the playoffs.
Wild West.
So
Took it to
obviously
the Wild
West is kind of cooking up right now to be essentially the Wild West. The Jazz, I'll just start with the Jazz. So they did actually beat the Clippers barely, but they did beat them. And right now they do play tonight, I believe. Is that correct?
It is going on live right now. Game 2, Clippers Jazz. It's another good one. So if you're not watching us, you better be watching that game. Or both. Please watch us both.
Or both, like what we are doing right now. Danny just got some hot off the presses stats.
My bad. Yeah. So, so in this case, just and again, just going to go into the Jazz Clippers. So the Jazz did survive the Clippers. They did lose by several possessions, though. So that was the thing about that. The Kawhi and Paul George didn't have a good outing. They did have a 23-7-3, 2010. So he did a 2. A PG did have a double, but they did put up 43 points together, so it wasn't bad. It just wasn't very, very efficient. Also, Murray was missed. You could tell the Nuggets, they don't really have anyone to kind of help them out that way. And
that's the Nuggets and Suns.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Mike Conley. I'm sorry. I'm reading ahead of my notes. Mike Conley is out, and that was a huge factor. Like, you can tell. It's just you do have Donovan Mitchell, showing up or whatever, right? But we just literally just saw it. In the next series that we'll talk about. It just can't be one guy. Not anymore. You know what I mean? It used to be that way, but I don't think so. I think you just need help.
Like some veteran presence.
And not just that, you just need a second superstar scorer. I mean, we'll see. We're also seeing that with the Bucks, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Rudy Gobert, man, you say defensive player of the year.
Oh yeah, you got defensive
superstar, but not a scorer. Or is he?
Yeah, so and then Donovan Mitchell did show up and show out. He did get 45 points. They get 6 threes and 43 percentage field goal. So go ahead and have Tosco, go ahead and give me some thoughts on that.
Yeah, the Clippers are not going to win this.
Dang, is it sweep, gentlemen?
No, I don't think so. But the Clippers looked good in the first half. They looked good. It looked like they were coming out. It looked like they showed up. That first half, looked like, it was something that it looked like, oh my God, here we go. The Jazz they're getting it together. Clippers are getting it together.
Yeah.
And people start watching out, look at what's going to happen. And then they came out in the second half and they
didn't come out.
They did.
In the second
they didn't show up. Yeah, at least not the third quarter. The fourth quarter, they did get a little bit better. But again, like you said, it's going to be up to Kawhi and Paul George. Those are your two stars. And not only, and think about this, they were in the game, and it was also because their bench was having a hell of a game. Kennard had 18 points. Zubac had 11 points. You had guys contributing. Marcus Morris in the first half had basically all his points in the first half. Reggie Jackson had all his points in the first half. Reggie Jackson in the third quarter picked up his fourth foul and he was done. Luke Kennard had a great game. Zubac came in, had a great game. But what happened for them for the rest of the game? Marcus Morris had a great first half. Boom, nothing the second. Batum, 6 points. Rondo, 5 points. And when you have Kawhi and Paul George in the 20s, only in the 20s, they're not going to win. They're not going to win.
Kawhi also was in foul trouble. Maybe that want to
I was gonna say,
make them dial back a bit.
What do you think? Go ahead, Tosco.
And so, the Jazz look like, you can tell that they needed another outlet to score because Donovan Mitchell showed up in the second half, came out, and he was awesome, right? He put up a lot of points. He scored the first 10 points of the third quarter by himself.
Yeah.
But you can tell, they needed Connolly there. They need him. They do.
Yeah.
But when you have Clarkson coming in, 6th man of the year, right? Coming in, putting up 18. You have Bogdanovich came in, put up 18. Gobert's putting up his double-double. You'll be good. You're fine. That's enough to win when Mitchell puts up 45. But that's what Leonard needs to do. He needs to put up 30, 40 points.
Yeah.
And if they're not doing that, then they're not going to win. And just by the Jazz are going to take it. I probably think they're going to take it in 6 games. The Clippers are going to win a couple, and they're going to maybe have a spark somewhere, but I mean, defensively, and this game, I felt that a lot of players were in foul trouble.
Yeah.
And I think defensively, the games will get better. And I think the scores are going to be a little bit lower, but
it's going to get tighter.
Being a little,
the games are going to start getting tighter.
Yeah. But I think that benefits Utah.
Yeah.
I think it benefits Utah because Utah has better defenders.
And I feel like they can slow down the game. But it's because Mike Conley again,
And with Donovan Mitchell, he can not only he can play the slow pace, but he can speed it up. Yeah, he has the ability to go and drive and take everything himself.
And he can create his own shot. He's very underrated in creating his own shot.
Yep. And so, and it's already been said that Conley is missing game 2, right? Right now that's going on. Conley's not playing. So hopefully they can get him back towards the end of the series. And that would help a lot. It's going to help a lot, obviously. So, hopefully he'll come back and be able to come back in game 3 and be the contributor. And once that happens, I think the Jazz are going to take this easily. So,
nice.
What do you think
on YouTube, I'll tell on YouTube, our good friend Adrian, it says defense wins championships.
I'm glad he finally learned.
I don't know if he's been serious. I'm sure he is.
All right. Well, what do you think? The Jazz Clippers will their defense win the championship?
Well, currently, from what I've seen from the game 1 and now half of game 2 already in the books, it just seems like their Clippers are just missing 1 or 2 extra guys to help with that offensive production. Right now, the defense, the two-way basketball that Utah's been playing, it's working. It's got a good dynamic going on. They're able to, get the ball out of Kawhi's hands a lot more. Playoff P is back. We all thought he was lost, but now he's back. Okay, well, yeah. The point being, the Clippers are missing a few pieces. I don't know what. We always go back to leadership. They're lacking some leadership. But they'll win maybe a game or 2, but the series, they won't go beyond this round.
and it goes back to what I had said this, and this is one of the things I think that's gonna also help. It's gonna be a struggle for the Nets. I know we're getting to that next. Is that the bench is a key component. The Clippers, Arturo keeps on saying they need another piece. They have everything they need. They need their two superstars to actually put up the scores. They need to put up 30, 40 points.
Yeah.
And
30
they
minimum.
need the bench that they have because that's the bench they had all year. They need that bench to produce.
Yeah.
They need those guys to come out, at least give them 10 points. But when you can't do that, and that's the same thing that's happening with Brooklyn, is your starters are awesome. They're putting up 100 points by themselves. But when you run into a team that is going to put up more than 100 and your bench players are not there, or you need, Durant has an off night, Kyrie has an off night, and you need your bench to supplement with those points, and they're not giving them to you, then
What's up? Like, you can't really go far.
You're not going to go far. So, yeah, and so I think that's why the Jazz are going to take it. And I know we can transition into the next one.
Yeah, like the Nuggets. I mean, super fan art. Obviously, we did see Nikola Jokic win the league MVP. Congrats to him. First center since Shaq, actually, since 2000. Believe it or not. So 21 years since a center has actually won MVP. Actually, Shaq did actually congratulate him. So congratulations, big guy. But now we see the Nuggets, they are missing Murray, pretty bad. He does come next year. Well, that's what they're saying. He's coming back next year. Right now you can see, that they're relying on Jokic for like literally everything. Sure, he can score, he's a walking double-double, right? Maybe 20 points a game. But they're actually going for him for playmaking, for threes, and everything. And he can do it. I'm sure he can, but it's like, come on, dude. Like, I need help. Where's everyone out? Right now, obviously, the Suns, they're hitting all strides, either with the team. Yeah, all starters last game in double figures. CP3, obviously, showing the huge leadership on both sides of the ball. He's 17 points, 14 assists, like 8 rebounds. I mean, that 14 assists, dude, like, essentially that's minimum, like, I think it was 15, actually, 15 assists. Minimum, that's like 30 points, like, minimum. That's not even counting threes or whatever. So, and 0 turnovers. So, just, it's just crazy. A stride going in there for CP3 as well. And again, the role players are creating the huge impacts. You'd have Bridges with 23 points, Ayton with have a 20-10 going, and Crowder 14 points, and then obviously being defensive anchor for the team, and how he was fighting there in the paint with Aaron Gordon there. So just like give me like your thoughts, super fan art, just what's going on this series. And just like your 2 cents on the MVP.
All right, cool. Well, currently the series stands as of now. The Phoenix Suns are up 2-0. They dominated yesterday's game. The Jokic, MVP, whatever. We all had a roundtable discussion that if you're a superstar, you need to do like 30 plus points because that's what's expected of you. I mean, yeah, he had a good double-double, 24 points. They did expect a lot more of him. I think what kind of hindered them in the beginning was they were trying to get the 3-ball working with Porter Jr. He was only 2 for 9 for 3. He only had 11 points. He was the only other starter who actually had double digits. All the rest scored 6 or less points for starters. That's pretty pathetic. So yeah, they were just trying hardest to get the 3-ball going, and it just wasn't going in. If Chris Paul didn't look 10 years younger, he was doing, I don't know, he got from the Space Jam Mike's Secret Stuff or whatever, sipping on that. He was just phenomenal. So right now, all the momentum is going with the Suns, and I don't think they're going to let their foot off the gas. I definitely got them having a sweep. I think this could be a sweep coming up. So yeah, that's what I see. That's my opinion. I'm not an analyst. I just know what I see, and I foretell a sweep.
Nice. So, Tosco, talk to me. What's going on with TP3 and the Suns?
Oh, and Arturo hit it right in the head when he said, there was only 2 starters on the Nuggets that scored double digits. The Suns, Jay Crowder, 11, Mikal Bridges, 16, DeAndre Ayton, 15, Chris Paul, 17, Booker, 18. Those were their 5 starters. Now, yes, I get it. You want your superstar, let's say Booker or Paul, to have 20, 30, 40 points. But when you have all 5 of your starters contributing like that, you don't need that to happen. Now, on top of that, they also had Craig from the bench, 10 points. They also had Johnson, 7. Payne, 7. Moore,
Payne
7.
with a couple threes.
With a couple threes. Sarich, 8. You're talking about 5 other guys that were almost close to double digits from the bench. If you have this kind of production from your whole team, you're gonna win every series. You're gonna win every game. Over here in the Nuggets, you barely had the rest of the starters putting up 6 points. Yeah, you had Barton on the bench getting 10, and you had Millsap at 11 from the bench. But at the same time, it's like nobody else contributed little to anything at all. And it's harder, and I know Jokic is just the MVP and stuff, but it's harder when, okay, we know that their main guy is Jokic, let's double team him, and now he can't do his 30, 40 points that he needs for this team to contend because Murray isn't there. They're trying to make Porter Jr. their
backup Murray.
Their next big scorer.
It's not gonna happen.
He's not. His shooting's horrendous. He was 3 for 13, 2 for 9 from 3. And all of that, and him not contributing in other ways. He had 1 assist. Like, it's never going to work out. It's not going to work out. Murray was a big piece. Murray would give you 20, 30 every night for sure. And that's what they're missing. It's a big part of what they're missing. So, and the facilitation to Jokic, and having Jokic being, not double team as much and being able to score more points also is another factor for not having Murray. Chris Paul looks awesome. He, like Arturo said, looks 10 years younger. We'll see. He's going to decline $41 million so that he can become a free agent, and so he can get another $100 million contract. That's what he wants, because he says he's good to go for another 5 years. So we'll see. He's playing awesome. He's playing like it right now. And so if that does happen, if he does decline and becomes a free agent, I guarantee you there's going to be a team that's going to give him those $100 million.
There we go. So just we'll go ahead and move on real quick into the East side. So the Nets actually did play today earlier against the Bucks. Bucks were able to actually push them 1 game. So it is actually 2-1 right now as we speak. So we'll get everyone's kind of thoughts on that. And then 76ers are 1-1 against the Hawks. I believe they play tonight. No, tomorrow. Tomorrow. They play tomorrow, yeah. So we'll definitely see how that series is going. I'll go ahead and actually kind of talk on that. The Bucks, I didn't expect the Nets to actually sweep the Bucks, to be quite honest. The Bucks still have enough talent. I think they might take them to 6 games just because of the talent alone. It might be to 5, just if Harden just comes back. I think it would just if Harden comes back, it's just not gonna be. It's gonna be bad. They're just gonna take the whole games and it's gonna be over by halftime. But I don't think the Bucks have enough firepower to win the actual series. What do you think, Tosco?
I don't think the Bucks can win the series, but for what the Bucks did today, and like you said, they probably win another game because of what we're seeing today. now we can see that the Nets are not, they're not an unstoppable force. And when you have, when you don't have your guys putting up 40, 50 like they were, and don't get me wrong, Durant still put up 30. Kyrie put up 22. And they even had Bruce Brown put up 16. But that's it. They only played 3 bench players. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players that did not play from their bench. They only played 3 bench players. Those 3 bench players combined for 7 points.
It's true.
Okay. And so that tells me that they don't have a bench. They're not comfortable with the bench players being out there. Now, don't get me wrong. One of them, Claxton, he was in there 18 minutes. Shamet was in there 17 minutes. They do play them. But my thing is that they're not going in there for scoring purposes, right? And I get it. You have Durant putting up 30. You have Kyrie Irving. And you're going to have Harden. But again, and I've said this before, I'll give Harden 30. I'll give Durant 30. And I'll give Kyrie 30. That's 90. I know all I got to do is put up 91 points. That's not that hard.
I mean, and then
if you stop everybody else on that team, which the Bucks clearly did, it doesn't matter if you have Durant, Irving, and Harden putting up 30. They're still not going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a low-scoring affair. I mean, it didn't even get to like 90.
I mean, and then you see like on the Bucks side, you have, Giannis with 33, Middleton 35, and that's it. The next one is Drew Holiday, 9 points, and everyone else. It's like, dude.
Sure, you're right. They did, but the Bucks played. The reason why the Bucks won this game is because they played good defense.
Yeah.
And you can see why, because the Brooklyn Nets didn't get to 90, didn't break 100. This is an offensive team. This is a firepower team. Now, you can say, oh, well, Blake Griffin got in foul trouble. Okay, Blake Griffin gave you 1 game with 30 points, and now he's back to the old Blake Griffin? No.
Yeah, he's not a defensive anchor, nothing like that.
No, he's not. He's going to give you those games, but he's not the Blake Griffin of old.
No.
And he got into foul trouble?
I feel like
so what?
I feel like he would be better. I feel like he would be better off the bench, just like a spark. Cause damn, dude.
Exactly. and so he was out. Okay, so he's out. Who do you got on the bench to bring in? Well, I don't have anybody. I got 3 guys, so I don't know what to do. Like, come on, man. I mean, you can't be like, you can't do that.
No.
That's not gonna win you. That's not gonna win a championship. Especially when you still have to go up against the West teams that are putting up 100 and something points every night, and they're playing good defense. You still have to play the 76ers, who are really good at defense. So something's got to give. Either they need to bring that bench up, they need to have more players playing, or Durant, Irving, and Harden need to put up 50 every game. That's the only way they're gonna make it.
From YouTube, Tom out there, he says the Bucks won because of Lopez. I guess his defensive prowess, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, like Tosco was saying, it's just like once you put it's like it's a playoffs. So, every game is different. It's not like where you have series like in the regular season, or like, okay, well now I know this guy's gonna do this. Like, well now this guy's not gonna do that anymore. Because now it's different. Every playoff game is different. And I feel like the Bucks kind of played to their strength. I mean, they did. Big bodies, body Giannis. He did score, but it was, he didn't get anyone involved, obviously.
And Brook Lopez was able to get Blake Griffin in foul trouble. Antetokounmpo, Giannis, was able to get Blake Griffin into foul trouble. And even PJ Tucker, who is a starter, didn't have any points, but defensively, he played a lot better. You wish you would have given you more points. You wish you would have contributed more as a starter. But the fact that they all contributed defensively and were able to maybe not even stop Durant or Irving, but they were able to stop Joe Harris. They were able to get Blake Griffin into foul trouble. They were able to stop Shamet and James and Claxton from coming off the bench and being factors, being contributors, right? And that's what I'm saying. Let the stars get their points, but if you shut out all the other role players, there's not enough to win. It's not enough to win. So the Bucks did that tonight. And maybe they can continue doing it. Now I know the Nets are going to try and come out and find another way, right? And obviously they're going to contribute to Blake Griffin being in foul trouble, right? But at the same time,
everyone needs to contribute. I mean, it's just straight up. I mean,
and that's what it is.
The bottom line.
Don't get me wrong. The Milwaukee Bucks, we're saying, the Milwaukee Bucks, yeah, they're going to lose. They're going to get fit. They're still a really good team, except that they don't match up well unless they're playing defense, which was not one of their strengths. So if they come on, turn the defense on, now we may have a series. But we have to see game 4. If they come in and the Bucks do the same thing and they tie it up, now we are going to start saying, whoa, maybe Brooklyn's not going to take this. And also, Brooklyn needs to get Harden back. See Harden, and everybody will tell you, Durant and Irving will tell you, Harden was the MVP of this team.
Yeah.
Harden was the best player on this team the whole season. So we need to see what happens when he comes back, makes that much of a difference, and we'll go from there.
So just going right into the 76ers Hawks game. I think they play tonight? No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, damn it.
So in this case, just kind of recapping on that. The 76ers essentially they're just getting on Embiid, Harris, Tobias Harris, and Seth Curry's back. I mean, I'm not sure what's happening with Ben Simmons, honestly. I mean, bro, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists.
But again,
superstar.
He's a defender. He's a great defender.
He is, dude. But come on, dude. I mean, it's a playoff game, and I understand they won, right? And obviously, they're going with the hot hand with everyone else, which is fine. But just kind of, I don't know. I feel like you should get yourself more involved, even if it's gonna get into the paint, stuff like that, or just getting some free throws in there, which he's not really good at anyway. So I just have a super fan art. Just kind of give me some thoughts on that. What do you think? The Hawks are, putting up a fight?
Currently the series stands at 1 win apiece going into tomorrow's game 3. We saw an offensive explosion with Embiid. He had 40 points, 13 rebounds, which is what is his superstar status is required of him to have those kinds of numbers. And Tobias Harris, he had a good 22 as well. And Curry, the forgotten Curry, he had 21 points. So right now, I think, with the exception of Simmons, they look like a pretty good cohesive team under Doc Rivers, the bum. And right now, it's entertaining. I do like it. I hope it does go to 7. I can't give a clear distinction of who's going to win it, just because we don't know who is going to show up to play each night. But you can never count out Troy Young. That guy is just, he's always on. He always finds a way. Don't get me wrong. And so, I really don't know who's going to win this series. It's very perplexing. I like it.
Talk to me, Tosco. What's going on here?
I think the 76ers showed more of their true colors on this game 2. Their defense showed up, and you can see it by the amount of points the Hawks scored. And I'm not talking about as a team, but individual players, they basically almost had, all their starting 5 in double digits last time, and they were all performing. They all had great games, points, rebounds, assists. And then in game 2, that changed. And I think one big part of it was Joel Embiid. He was able to now he showed Clint Capella, hey, all right, you got game 1 on me, but now I'm back. And, they got into it. It got chippy. And him, and then he also went at Gallinari, and so Embiid came out there, put his foot down, and said, "Hey, it's we're gonna show up now. We're here." And so defensively, they played a way better game. Yes, you see Ben Simmons only scoring 4 points, but Ben Simmons, is a great defender. And, and even though, he didn't have a great game, I'll still take him as a defender on the field. And same thing with Denny Green. You look at Denny Green, he's a 3-point shooter. And if he's not a 3-point shooter, he's a defender. And he didn't have a great night shooting. He only had 5 points. He missed, 4 of his threes, went 1 for 5, but defensively he was good. He was having a good game. And that's what you need to see from them. That's what they need to show, their defense, because that's the team they are, and as you get, further on in this series, I question and I wonder how much is if the Hawks can find other ways to score and get other people involved. Collins in game 1 had 21 points. Game 2, he only had 8. Solomon Hill didn't even score in game 2. So,
0.
So how are they going to get those players involved again? Tony Snell and even Huter. I don't know how to say his name. Huter. He got 20 off the bench. Gallinari got 21 off the bench, and that's great production. But where your starters and where's the rest of the bench? Because even Trae Young barely got to 20 points.
Yeah, I was like
saying Bogdanovich barely got 14. So, and Capella only had 10. Capella had more in game 1. So if Philadelphia turns up that defense, I think it's going to be tough for the Hawks to keep up. Now, the series is going to Atlanta. They're going to have home field, home court. We'll see how that affects. We'll see if, they come out hyped, they start shooting. And again, if, you have Gallinari, you have Huter, you have Trae Young, if they're getting hot from 3, that's going to be hard to stop. So we need to keep that in mind. Bogdanovich, they weren't very well from 3 in game 2. If they, get hot in game 3 from the 3-point line, then, okay, now we can start saying, okay, are the Hawks a viable option to beat the 76ers? And we need to see that in game 3. If they don't do it, they're not going to win the series.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the Hawks can actually surprise people. I think they have a very capable team. They obviously, have scores, right? They just need to get Trae Young to continue being Trae Young, and essentially not just him, but just the starters to just play out. You have Hill with 0 points on there, almost 3 donuts, but it's just one of those things where just kind of. I think they can just surprise people. I think the 76ers do win. I think they might take it to game 7. Just because it's going to be interesting like that. But I think it's going to be a lot of experience for that young team for next year, where they better watch out.
And that's it. If they can get the experience, they made it to the second round, and if they can add a piece or two, maybe defensively, a defensive kind of player, maybe another big guy, because, you have Capella, but when he's out, who plays that center position? If you have another big guy that produces, that can score points, now we're starting to see them, become more of a viable option.
Yeah. So, but yeah, just so we'll go ahead and just I'll wrap it up with this segment and just start wrapping up with the show just in general, but just in for the playoffs. We'll definitely continue talking as we continue on moving into that. And then next week, guys, so kind of keep an eye out for that. We're going to start talking NFL. What? Yes, NFL again. The season, believe it or not, does start in, I don't know how many days. It's 100 days or something.
8 weeks.
8 weeks. There we go, 8 weeks. So we're actually going to do 8 weeks of divisions.
8 weeks for division. 8 weeks till preseason.
8 weeks to preseason. We're doing division by week. So we're going to go ahead and actually talk a little bit more in that, depending on the division, by teams. We're actually going to bring in super fans of those teams, talk about what their expectations are. And I don't know, it should be pretty excited. So we'll definitely announce, we'll start doing some raffle, maybe some stuff for that particular team or just some Mezzo Forte Sportz in general. But we'll start getting more into that as well next week. All right, guys. So just that's gonna be it for this week's episode. Hope y'all can chill with us next time. Today we have Superfan Art, Tosco, and Crack AV. And I just want to give a shout out to everyone following us on Mezzo Forte Sportz on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Go ahead and follow us there. Also, we're on Instagram. Thank you so much for all of our sponsors. This music provided by Studio 13th Day, as well as our graphics. Again, this is Danny BMD signing off, saying laters to everyone, and go ahead and bring it home, Arturo.
Thank you, Dan. The lesson of the day is Chris Paul keeps racking up assists, and Nuggets coach Michael Malone keeps getting pissed. Remember, sports are great, but mean nothing without y'all, the fans. This is episode number 37. Until next time, folks, be cool, stay safe, and keep on listening to Mezzo Forte Sportz.
Right now. Oh, man, that's crazy.